Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another session of Life Talk with Shell. I want to welcome you back if you are coming back to join us, and I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to those who are new to the channel. I'm so glad that you have come to join us. Want to give a disclaimer. I'm kind of winded today with this asthma, this weather. It's just a mess. So if I drink my water, that's just because I'm kind of running out of breath and getting a dry mouth. So please excuse that non-etiquette of drinking my water on this video. So last week we talked about dating and asking necessary questions so that we can make sure that who we're trying to build a life with is compatible with us, or if we should just say, hey, this is not working, and then just move on to the next. So that's what we talked about, the importance of asking questions. And if you have not yet seen that video, go right on over to the channel when you finish watching this video and watch that one, because that's a very good video as well, very informative. But today we want to talk about sex. And I say I whisper because it's taboo in some places. Some people don't care about it, but it's something that we probably never really talk about in terms of dating. Well, I don't know. These days, people are probably talking about it a lot more. But I do want to say that this is by no means telling you to have sex, not to have sex, none of that stuff. I just want to shed some light on the situation and the consequences and the benefits and the whatever about sex. I wanted to share my experiences and to also just remind us of what God says about premarital sex. So first things first is sex is way more than physical, or if it affects way more than your physical body. It will affect your mind, your heart, and your soul. And especially if you're wrapped up with the wrong person, it can really be detrimental to that. I want to talk about how rushing into sex when you first meet somebody can cloud your judgment. Yes, you've asked your questions, but you really don't know the person because you decided, okay, we're going to have sex. And then all of a sudden, sex becomes the most important thing to do. You can't even find other things to do because you're trying to figure out how you can get together and do that. But I'm telling you that there's a danger in that because it can cloud your judgment. You can miss things that you should have been paying attention to because you've let that part of the relationship, or I'm sorry, let that part come into the relationship. So you've missed some red flags. You've missed some things that you said were a deal breaker and all of that because you've allowed them to enter into your mind and enter into your soul and enter into your body in the form of intercourse. And a lot of people don't think of it like that, but the Bible made it as a covenant between a husband and a wife. So it's a covenant. So therefore, it is something that is only made for that couple, and it's okay if you tie your soul to him, if your whole mind, all of that stuff is okay. But when you're doing it with everybody that you're dating, then you're tied to everybody that you're dating. But I'm kind of getting off subject because I'm going to talk about soul ties later. But when you think about, just having that sex with anybody, then you have to remember that you're connecting yourself to everybody that you have sex with. You're connecting yourself. After we think about the clouding of the judgment, I'm gonna just talk real. So say you got a guy, you like him or you're getting to like him. You don't really know. I mean, he's nice, and this is a woman too. She's nice. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. So then you decide we're gonna go and we're gonna sleep together. I'm gonna tell you, if that person could be the perfect person for you, but if you enter into a sexual relationship before it's time, then if that sex is bad, you're not going to want to have nothing to do with that person. And that could be the one that's for you, because I honestly, truly believe that when God brings you together and you are meant to be husband and wife, you're not even going to know that the sex is good is bad. But here's the deal. The reason why we know, because some of us have already experienced premarital sex. We've already been married or whatever. So we are comparing our partners with other people that we've had. And that can be detrimental too, because you shouldn't do that, because already they're defeated when they come into a relationship with you. But matters not that. If you enter in it too soon and that person really is right for you, but the sex is just really not good, listen, I already know. You'd be like, yeah, no, I can't do her. I can't do him. And that's just human honesty. And if you don't want to go on there with me being honest, hey, y'all know what I'm talking about. But then on the flip side of that, if you enter into the sexual relationship too soon and the person may not be the one for you or may not be compatible to you, but the sex is good, then you start overlooking things that you know are your deal breakers. So you just have to be very careful. It is a powerful, powerful weapon. It's a powerful weapon, and you need to really use it wisely. Don't have it locked and loaded and ready to go. You need to have it put away, because you need to really use it wisely. I want to really, really focus on soul ties. Did you know, or do you know, that your soul can get tied to so many people? Back in the day, a long time ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I read a book called Sex and the Single Christian Girl. And it literally blew my mind of all the things that happen chemically. And I'm a nurse, but all the things that happen chemically with the body, with sexual intercourse. It releases some kind of hormone for men that automatically wants to provide and protect for the woman. And that's the reason why you see a lot of them running away, because they don't quite understand what feeling that they're getting, because all they're trying to do is just have sex, but they don't understand how God made those chemicals start coming in their mind and releasing in their body to protect this woman that he is really trying to have a covenant with, because you're having sex with them. And then with the woman, all of the things that we take in from what the guy releases is just working in our mind to instantly become that nurturer of that man, instantly become that, that help me part of ourselves, is attaching ourselves to that man, because we are having sexual relationships. And you're not even married to him, or you're not even married to her. So we have to be careful who we tie our souls to. But if you're not into soul tying, if you don't believe in it, that's fine. But let me tell you, it is the truth. That's the reason why you can't get people, I just can't get him out of my system. No, you can't get him out of your soul. That's what you can't get him out of, because you have constantly taken what he's released constantly, and now your mind, your heart, your body, your soul is tied to this woman, to this man. God provides way out for that. You can pray and ask God to untie your soul, but you have to pray and ask him to untie your soul to every person that you have slept with. Every person that you have slept with, because you don't want any of that lingering when you do find your husband or your wife. You don't want any of that lingering behind you. You don't want the thoughts of whatever that other guy did or whatever that other woman did, because you're going to take that into what you want your wife to do or what you want your husband to do. And you're going to be disappointed all the time in your sex life in your kingdom marriage if you keep having it with these dating situations. Now, I can only speak about that because I know, before I really was saved and delivered and really just started focusing on living my life for Christ, yeah, I had a couple of situationships that we were engaged in act in sexual activity. And you know, at first I was like, oh yeah, nothing's wrong with this, and you know, that's okay, blah 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 blah. But then it started to consume me, so I had to stop that, you know, because my mind was constantly thinking about this, constantly wanting to do that. And that's just not what God had created me to be. Our bodies are the temples of God. We don't want to abuse any of that. God did not make it for us to just be out there with everybody. Just out there. That is not a good thing. We need to get to know people before we start having any type of sexual relationships with them, only for the benefit of us. But again, I told you, this video is not to condemn you. It's not to say you can't have sex, none of that stuff. I just want you to really think about what goes on when you start having sexual relationships with people. In who is it, Meghan Good and her husband, in their book called The Wait, you know, they talked about how they did different things with each other, different dates, you know, with each other, trying to, you know, keep from having those that sexual relationship. That's the best way too. It's so many things you can do, it's so many things you can explore. But when you start just coming over to each other's houses and watching movies in the dark, you know, you setting yourself up for it. Setting yourself up for it. So I would encourage you, if you're thinking about having different relationships, if you're tired of sleeping around, or if you're tired of relationships going sour after a while and you're looking for a better way, I'm telling you, if you have sex in the equation, take it out. Write down some different things you guys can do. Go to the opera, go to the symphony, go to the zoo. You know, do different things that you can do outside of the home. Have a list of things that you are not going to do. You know, we're not going to be at our house after dark by ourselves. We're not going to be out past 10 o'clock. You know, have those different things that you need to do, and have them in place prior to getting into a relationship and all that stuff, so that it can flow better. Have some accountability partners. Hey, I'm going out with John tonight. Call my phone at 10:30 and see what I'm doing. And then you have that person call you, hey girl, go to the house. You need to go home. It's time to get in the house. You need to have those type of people. That's if you're looking for a different type of relationship. You know, matters not, you know, if you have been dating them for 5 and 6 and 7 months. If you're ready now, say, you know what, our relationship is really about sex. I need to reevaluate that. And if you're with the person that you're supposed to be with, then they're going to understand when you have that conversation with them. Listen, I know we've already been having sex. I know we've already, you know, crossed that line, but I really think we ought to do something different. I think that we ought to step away from that, so our relationship will not be based on that. Because even though you say, oh no, it's not going to be based on it, it will be, and it can be based on it. And then when it comes a time where you're not able to engage in that activity, what would y'all have to do? What would y'all have to do? You know, I talked about the relationship that I was in last year or so. Last year, and how we went from ABC to XYZ so fast. Yeah, we did. And look at where that has left us. And not saying that was just the main thing, but I mean, it was, because we jumped the gun before we should have jumped the gun. You know, it was not designed for us to do that at that time. But, you know, hey, we're human, and it happened, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that it happened, and it just flipped the script for everybody. But that's because it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing that we need to get in tune with our bodies, you know, because let me say this, if you don't have self-control in your singleness, when it comes down to sex and all of those things, you're not going to have it in your marriage. Marriage does not make thoughts and feelings and all that stuff go away. That's not what that is. So if you can't have self-control in the singleness, you won't have it in your marriage. So I would just encourage us to get it together in our in our minds and in our hearts, and quit rushing off to go to that next level of that. I know some men, even some women, some men feel like that's where they express their love. Some women feel like that's the only way they know that their man loves them. Yeah, I know. If that's the only way you can express your love, and that's the only way I can feel like you love me, we don't need to be together. Because it's a plethora of things that you can do to prove your love, to show your love, to feel love. It's plenty of things that you can do other than sex. And I know that the media has sex just glorified, low cut shirts, and butt cheeks hanging out of shorts, and you're not sexy and all this stuff unless you half naked. So it sells sex to us all the time. It sells that everybody is doing it. So I'm gonna go back to how your mom used to say, so if everybody jump off the building, you're gonna do it too. It's just out there. It's out there. When I decided to be celibate, or when I decided to practice abstinence, even now I cannot listen to certain songs. I can't look at certain shows, none of that stuff, because guess what? I'm still human. I've been married I'm not a virgin. So those thoughts are still in my head. But if I'm trying to keep from making phone calls that I used to make, I have to guard my mind. I have to guard my heart. I have to guard my soul. I'm just putting y'all all in my business. But hey, this Life Talk with Shell. If we can't be real here, we can't be real nowhere. So I just have to guard my mind. Y'all, I went to go see, what I see? Bad Boys for Life. Y'all, listen. That Will Smith is something good looking. Do you hear me? I saw him go across that screen. I was like, oh, I got to get out of here. But for real, those things, you have to be careful what we hear, what we see, all of that stuff, if we're trying to keep temptation from us. And we have to stay prayed up, because if you're like me in a place where I am, I don't want, if it ain't kingdom, I don't want it. If it ain't of God, I don't want it. So I've got to really guard my mind and guard my heart and guard my eyes. I really have to, because I'm no longer in the business of having booty calls and empty sex and all of that stuff. I'm not no longer in the business of doing that. It's time for covenant relationships. It's time for covenant relationships. So I just beg you, even if you do decide to have premarital sex, just make sure that you're not rushing into anything. Make sure that you know all of the consequences that come with it. It's beyond having a baby. It's beyond having a sexually transmitted disease. You can get a spiritually transmitted disease. You don't know what kind of spirits these people got in them. You need to make sure that this is the person, women that you want to receive. And men, you need to make sure that this is the person you want to give to. You don't want to get your soul tied up to the wrong person. You just do not. Just do not. And just in case, like I said, you have already, or you feel like your soul is tied to somebody, ask God to untie that, to burn those bridges. Ask him to release everything that they gave you. Women say, God, will you just please, I want to give back everything he gave me, and I want to take back everything that he took from me, and vice versa. And get your soul untied with all these different people. Get your souls untied. I just really encourage you to understand and know, not just women. Women, you're not the only ones that's worth the wait. Men, you're worth the wait too. You're worth the wait too. Things that God have put in you, your love that you can share with someone intimately, that's worth the wait. And if they don't want to wait, bye, get out of here. You're not the one for me. If you feel like this premarital sex thing, then I say, yeah, I'm abstinent, and you feel like, oh yeah, no, I can't deal with that. Then yeah, you can't deal with it. You can't deal with it. But just know, make up your mind. You know, I had my mind made up, and I let the enemy come into my mind, and I broke the vow that I had made to God to not have premarital sex too soon. I say that because I mean, I guess I'm like, oh, I was gonna have it eventually, but scratched it too soon. But to not have premarital sex, that I'm waiting on my wedding night. And with that vow being broken, that just turned my whole life around. So I found myself having to recommit to the Lord, having to recommit to myself. Because listen, if you cannot, and a good friend told me, reminded me of this, if you cannot keep your vow and your word to yourself, you can't keep your vow and your word to nobody. Because who's more valuable than you? Nobody. So we have to learn how to keep our vows and our words to ourselves. So again, this was just a really random, all over the place video. I know it was, so you don't have to leave no comments telling me that it was. But I just want us to think about things when we are in relationships and we're first starting to date people, and we want to take our relationship to another level. I want you to remember that it's not just physical, it is mental, it is emotional, and it is spiritual, this sex thing. So as I wrap this video up, if you have any questions or any comments, you can email me at lifetalkwithshell@gmail.com, and we can talk a little bit deeper about it. I will link that book, Sex and a Single Christian Girl, in the comments. I don't really know what's a good book about abstinence for guys, but even Meghan and her husband, his name escapes me. Their book is really good, called Devon, whatever his name is. But their book is really good too, and it'll just really help you to decide what kind of what you want for your life, even if you're not sleeping around, or even if you haven't thought about dating anybody. Just when that time comes, what are you going to do about sex? Okay, so thank you again, you all, for coming out, and I wish that you would subscribe to the channel, that you would share the videos and share the channel so that everyone can hear some Life Talk with Shell and just really be able to get on with their journeys through life. So I just would appreciate if you would subscribe, like, and share the video. And I will see you guys next week. See you later. Bye-bye.